My dad thought he could replace my mother with his creepy new girlfriend and make me call her mom, but he didn't realize I still had contact with my actual mom. I was 13 when my father got engaged to Sloan. My mom had been convicted of manslaughter 5 months earlier. She killed someone at a bar, except she wasn't even drinking. I was there. She went into the back bathroom and came out minutes later panicked and covered in blood, shouting for someone to call the police. They came fast and put her in handcuffs. The next time I saw her was behind glass. It never made sense. My mother never had a violent bone in her body. She swore she didn't do it. And the way my dad acted made me more suspicious, not less, because he brought Sloan home instantly. Day one. She was my new mom now, since the other one was clearly a monster. I wasn't sure what to believe at first, but 5 months later he announced they were engaged and that I should start calling her mommy, and that's when I became fairly convinced my mother was innocent. Around that time, Sloan got comfortable. She'd sit and watch me eat, not eating herself, just watching. My dad thought it was sweet. When I told him she made my skin crawl, he said I was being dramatic. He must have repeated it to her because that night while he slept, she came into my room, grabbed my wrist hard enough to leave marks and said, "You know what happens to little boys who tattle." So I stopped telling him things and started keeping a secret. I wrote letters to my mom, hid them in textbook pages, and mailed them from a friend's house. She wrote back through the prison email system to an account my dad didn't know existed. Then I came home one day and found he changed my last name on all my school records. Merrick, Sloan's name. "You'll thank me when you're older," he said. A week later I found the notebook in her purse and only looked because I was hunting for vending machine change. A cheap spiral notebook full of dates in her handwriting. Subject was defiant at dinner. Subject refused food. Subject was observed talking to himself. Subject appears to be having difficulty distinguishing reality. 40 pages back to day one. All about me. All of it made up. When she caught me holding it, she didn't get angry. She took it from my hands very gently and said someone had to keep track of me since nobody else would. Mom's birthday was coming up and I asked my dad if I could visit her. Just a few minutes. He said no. And then something worse. That Sloan had booked a lake resort that exact weekend and expected all 3 of us there. When I said I'd rather see my mom, he exploded. "She's a killer. You're not visiting a murderer." And when I said she's innocent and she's still my mom, Sloan slapped me across the face while he watched. He didn't say a word. I went on the trip, and at that resort, I lost a day. I woke up on top of the covers with my shoes still on, the room full of afternoon light, and my phone said it was Sunday. The inside of my elbow ached, and there was a small round bruise there, like a dot pressed in with a pen. In the bathroom trash was a plastic hospital band, snipped in half. My first name was on it, and Merrick after it. Sloan was downstairs making eggs, and asked how I was feeling. I asked what happened. She smiled and said I'd had a rough night, that I'd gotten out of bed around 2 in the morning screaming at the wall, and she'd had to take me somewhere to get me calmed down. I looked at my dad. He wouldn't look back at me. I told them I didn't remember any of that, and Sloan said, "That's the concerning part." The week we got home, my dad found the letters and burned them in the fire pit, and as punishment for talking to her, he took my bedroom door off its hinges. "For monitoring," he said. So Sloan started standing in the hallway at night, arms at her sides, watching me sleep. Some nights I'd wake and she'd already be there, and I never knew how long. The next day I snuck into the school library after hours and sent my mom an hour-long email that made no sense, because I was too numb to know what I wanted. 2 weeks later she wrote back, long, saying all the right things, but one line stopped me. "Did you check where I said?" "Check where?" I went back through every email she'd ever sent, and I found it, buried in one from weeks earlier, sent the day after I'd asked to visit her, when I was too heartbroken to read properly. "Go up to the attic," she'd written, "behind the radiator." I waited for date night. My hands shook climbing up with a flashlight. Click here to watch part 2 of the story.